Hello World Wide Web, I'm Dr. Shado, the internet personality with the best hair, and I just got back from watching Independence Day Resurgence, which means for the first time in a long damn time I can actually do one of these reaction review off-the-cuff kind of things that I used to do, and that's something. And as with the format that was from so long ago, most of you probably don't even know I ever did it, let alone remember how it went. First I'm going to try and give a review no spoilers as best I can. And then I'm going to, at some arbitrary time, just declare, okay, spoiler time, and ruin everything for you. So, with that in mind, Independence Day 4-2. Or Independence Day Resurgence. Independence Day 42. How does it stack up against the first one? In my opinion, in a lot of ways, it's better. But, of course, in a lot of ways, it's, everyone already knows, this isn't a spoiler for anyone, he's no Will Smith. And they don't really even have a Will Smith replacement, sorta. There are characters in relation and what have you, but they're not Will Smith. Say that they're related to the characters, they're their own characters, they're not Will Smith. So that's that. So, when you lose your Will Smith, you lose that bit of the movie. But there has a lot of other things to really help make up for that. It has a lot of really strong characters, strong as in entertaining, fun to watch. They've got their own thing. It's another 2.5-hour movie, like the first one. And much like the first one, it doesn't feel like it was a 2.5-hour movie. It just took that time and just, it was just a lot of stuff to watch and keep track of and what have you. It has a lot faster of a start than the first two, in my opinion. Whereas the first, it was introducing so many characters and they were all doing mundane earthly shit. Here, it's not only introducing so many characters, but it's introducing the way the world has changed in all that time. And there is a lot of new sci-fi awesome shit that if you're into sci-fi and you're into awesome space shit, like me, you're probably gonna like that. And it's gonna make the introduction of all the new players a lot more, a lot more interesting. And, the whole conflict is a bit more complicated this time. It's not just, some guys show up and they want you dead. There's actually some motivation behind it, and there's some other things going on, and there's a cat that's meowing. We're trying to keep that under wraps. Koban, you want to come up here? If people are hearing a cat, they may as well see one. Come on, internet loves kitties. Come on. You're fuzzy. Now he's just not paying. Now you're going to walk that way? Now you're going to walk that way. Okay. See you, Koban. Thanks for the help. And, there's a lot of characters that come back. We don't get Will Smith. But there's Jeff Goldblum's character. There's Jeff Goldblum's actor father character. I should learn people's names. There's President Whitmore. I know his character's name. Can't remember the actor for the life of me. Damn it. Okay, people are going to be yelling at me in the comments for that one. And Dr. Okun, who is, of course, the guy, again, I can't remember the actor's name, but he played Data in Star Trek Next Generation. I was about to say Star Trek Generations, but that's, no. Okay, or did he do it in that too? I think so. There's, in the first one, there was a lot of things where it had all this stuff going on in this American city, then that American city, then that American city, and then at the end it's like, hey, the world joins up together, puts their differences aside, and goes forth, boom! And this had a similar kind of thing where they were showing so many things happening in so many different locations, except it wasn't this American city, and then that American city, and that American city is like in America, and the moon, and by the way, here's some shit going on at Saturn, and stuff like that. Really didn't see too much stuff outside of America, though, still. Even though, also, in this movie, the whole thing about the unification of the worlds is nothing really about the unification of the countries to help deal with the problem in 1996. There's nothing really that suggests that they ever stopped being unified. So they're still all working together. It's just everything that's important happens in America. And Africa. America and Africa. There, they did add a country. I forgot. Sorry. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of destruction of holy shit, and I really wish I saw this in 3D. Because I ended up watching the movie in 2D. That when I was purchasing the ticket, there was this thing saying, "Hey, 2D 2.5 hours, 3D 2 hours," and I was like, "Am I missing a half hour of the movie? Or is this just a typo? Is it? Yeah, I'll get the 2D and be sure." And the whole movie really looked like it would have looked great in 3D. There's a whole bunch of volumetric effects, like stars and fucking just going through galaxies and shit, and there's debris fields and dust clouds and swarms of ships and explosions and fucking all this intricate shit, and it's just giant crowds of people, and I'm like, holy fuck, I wish I was seeing this in 3D. Because I can't really judge how well it does 3D unless I actually see it in 3D, because there's been plenty of movies I've seen in 3D that had some good looking 3D, and then the rest of it, they just kind of fuck it up. Like Prometheus, they had some really great 3D in a lot of scenes, and then in a lot of others, it looked flat. Like, I was taking my 3D glasses off in the theater, like, there's no difference, There's two distinct depths here, and I'm seeing the same. And in Amazing Spider-Man, where, for some reason, they decided to, like, have no 3D at all, except in the fight scenes. That was like the only place they had 3D in that whole movie, which is really annoying. That was even worse than Prometheus. Yeah, some movies do 3D excruciatingly well, and this looked like it could have been, and I can't tell because I didn't see it in 3D. There was plenty of scenes that looked like they would look good in 3D, but none of this, not really. Like, there's one scene that harkened back to what I would call the gimmicky bullshit 3D throw shit in your face, where they're like in Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, there was plenty of parts where they're just like, hey, there's a slave getting whipped, there's the whip going right at the camera, crap like that. It's just, that kind of stuff. And in Fury Road, where they're like, hey, explosion and shit flying at the camera and bouncing back. There was one scene like that in this movie where there's some things coming towards the camera, but they're coming slowly, and they kind of stop, and they come back around and go, and it makes sense in the plot and the events going on, that it's not so much the shit coming at you that's impressive, but all the stuff behind it, and all of the depth that would give the scene. It would make it look like it would let you see the scale of it that much better, and the whole throwing shit in your face aspect of it is very subdued compared to the it was just too very slowly and then come back. So yeah, that was, I think, just watching it in 2D, it looked like it would have been really nice to see in 3D. Then again, watching Amazing Spider-Man in 3D, it looked like it would have been really nice to see in 3D. Anyhow, overall, the characters and the way they work together and sort of the drama aspect of the interwoven character arcs and stuff, not as strong as the first. There's definitely some admirable characters there. They don't really, they didn't really grow on me much in the same way as those in the first, where you didn't have, like, well, you had your romances and stuff going on, but it didn't feel as important as the romance in the first one. Like, if you want to mark it as importance or what have you, or you got things going on and people going and all shit, and like, But yeah, there's I don't know. And there was a bit of retconning as well, which kind of, on one hand, it could have happened the way they say, but at the same time, you really have to just kind of accept the new, this is what happened last time, even though you didn't see it. So it's like, that sounds like it would have been a really important thing to show us. You could have built on that story without having to throw this as something that happened then that we just didn't know about. But, yeah. In any case, overall, entertainment factor versus depth of the characters, the character interactions with each other, how the whole overall plot comes together, quality of the film, it's really hard to pin down. It was like better than the first, or not as good, or equal. really hard to say this early on with one viewing. I'm wanting to give this like a 4 or a high 4. Like, it's very tempted to give it a 5 if it weren't for, like, some of the retconning. And the fact that a lot of the characters don't feel as strong as in the first time around, except for a lot of the returning characters, which some of them don't have as good of a role anyway. But they're just kind of there, but they're entertaining. They work for the entertainment factor and things like that, so, yeah. I guess that about does it for the spoiler-light, spoiler-free, 0 spoilers per serving version of the review. So, let's dig into Spoiler City and get fat on ruined movies. Now then, what the hell was the point of having a third alien race? Not necessarily an alien race, as they don't have bodies. They're not living creatures. They transcended to artificial intelligence, but they're artificial intelligence that still had no idea what it was doing and just kind of stood there staring at the humans like, long enough for President Dumb Cunt to be like, yeah, shoot it! And yeah, that's what caused a lot of the problems for everyone, was the command decision of, we don't know what to do, we've never encountered this species or whatever the hell before, so what do? Kill them! Yeah, that fucked everything up for a lot of people. And, yeah, fortunately she got hers. But, there was also, in terms of characters dying, very few important characters did. Like, when they introduced someone, chances are you're going to see him last till the end. I mean, like quirky, goofy little jokester guy from the first who became the guy who dies that you're supposed to feel sorry about. You had a quirky jokester guy here who just kind of stuck around, like, hey, I got plot armor too, bitches. Yeah, I'm going to have a happy ending. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, there was a lot of stuff with that. And, I was trying to think. I blew my load on the spoiler-free version. What the hell was I thinking? Yeah, there was, Dr. Okun still alive, of course, everyone saw in the trailers, and like, how the hell is that possible? Well, I did quickly rewatch the scene where he dies in the first, and technically speaking, they never said he's dead. He just kind of falls limp on the ground, and they check his pulse, and they don't say what it is. It's just like, he's collapsed, and in this they say he's been in a coma since then, and the aliens showing up again, much like how the alien ship in the first that was in Area 51 turned on during the invasion. When the invasion started up again, Okun woke up. And him and President Whitmore, former President Whitmore, because they had been had their minds taken over to some degrees by the aliens before. Okun directly via tentacle on neck slammed into glass, and Whitmore via the psychic blast after the alien was done talking to him through Oku. That gave them some sort of visions of shit going on. But yeah, the retconning, the big retconning that was like, holy shit, this sounds like it would have been really important to tell us. The largest alien vessel that happened to come to Earth? Well, it landed in Africa, and I do mean landed. It had landing gear, and it was using a plasma drill on the planet. And it just kind of fucking stayed there after they destroyed the mothership, and for 10 years, the Africans have been waging a ground war against the alien forces. That just has been happening. So, yeah, that sounds like it's something kind of important to mention. And it's like, whoa, that's out of left field. And it's very important this time because now the guy that they're coming back, they're bringing an even bigger giant drill ship. Giant drill ship in the first place would have been an interesting thing to see, but yeah, giant drill ship thing. And they're just smashing into the planet and drilling into the planet like they just hacked in a bunch of stuff in space engineers, and they're like, yeah, I gotta test this shit out. And, yeah, that's when the third faction comes into play. The last surviving orb. Yeah, it's an artificial intelligence, like, alien thing that's a floating orb. Sound familiar? It looks kind of like a premiere ball. Yeah, so it starts talking in a robotic female voice, like, yeah, and telling everyone, yeah, they destroyed our planet and killed like all of my people except for me. I'm the last one. And they're gonna kill you by using this giant drill and sucking out your liquid core of your planet. And that's what they do to fuel their technology and grow their fleet and everything and go forth and suck up more planets' liquid cores. And at no point does anyone decide to raise their hand and say, Miss Big Floating Orb, we actually have a solid core surrounded by a liquid core, so they're not going to get, like, a very good, shit out of us. So maybe they should try a different planet first. If they run out of full liquid core planets, they gotta come after us? What the fuck? So, yeah, there's that. And, yeah, so for some reason the aliens are scared of the AI aliens. Even though the AI aliens only really have some intelligence, I have no idea what the fuck they'd be afraid of. It's like, I'm the last survivor, they completely destroyed us, but we scare them. Why? But they also had some secret worlds where they saved some civilizations that the other guys had been wiping out, and they built like these super fleets with weapons that can destroy the big bad alien bastards. Speaking of big bad alien bastards, there's now a queen. Because every alien needs a queen. I have no idea why these guys needed queens. They were like gray aliens with big suits. Now they're like, hey, we need a queen. It doesn't look like you hatch. What? Why do you need a queen? So, I mean, the queen looked impressive, but at the same time, I'm like, why do they need one? Why does every alien need a queen? Is anyone going to ask Orb Bitch who's her queen? Is she the queen of the Orb Bitches? Is she going to spawn a bunch of little Orb Bitches? What's going on? And, so, yeah. You got the big queen, who also has her giant exosuit thing. Like, I saw her stomping around being all huge and shit, and I was like, is that what she looks like? Because she doesn't look anything like the other motherfuckers. Is that just her exosuit? Because it looks kind of like that. And then she jumped in her giant exosuit. I'm like, oh, evidently not. That's her giant fucking exosuit. Ugh. So, yeah, the aliens are scared of the Orb Bitch, but they want to get to the Orb Bitch to do something? Like, I think kill it. Maybe? I don't know. I watched it once. I haven't checked on IMDb and double-checked anything, so fuck it. I haven't even double-checked the names of the actors. So yeah, that's why I get so much shit wrong. But yeah, Giant Queen, there's like, oh, evidently the mothership you blew up before had a queen on it, and that's what disrupted the hive mind thing, which is why the last fleet, like, disbanded and fucked up at that point when you destroyed the mothership, rather than just the whole, you figured out how to destroy them anyway because you knocked out their shields and you can attack their big, cannon thing, and that sets a chain reaction that destroys the entire vessel. No, it's just, you destroyed the mothership, that destroyed the queen, and therefore everything's gone. Yep, so there's a bit of retconning, like I said. So now, then they have this big thing where they're trying to destroy the queen directly, and they got all the different plans about it, and of course the plans don't go exactly right, of course. And then they end up destroying the vessel, finally, and the queen survives, because fuck you. It's like, oh yeah, it's this most massive nuclear death bombs of hell that she ever did. No bother, fuck you, I'm good. I got a little shield. And then bitch flies in and shoots the shield with a couple lasers and just eventually knocks it down because it has a limited power source. And a giant, like, cold fusion nukes. It's like 10 of them. Can't take this bitch out. Few shots from a fighter jet. That'll take it down. No problem. So, yeah, eventually they kill the queen when she's not connected to anything, and then that fucks with the whole fleet and everything. I was like, oh shit, fuck, gotta go. So, yeah, it's got a bit confusing. in some areas. Like, by itself, it works pretty well. The more I think about it, the more I'm saying 4. Yeah. But it's really entertaining. Combined with the first, it works in many ways, but it also retcons a lot of shit. Which is like, why did you have to do that? But, yeah. The other thing this does that, depending on what you want out of it, I don't know, it ends on a bit of sequel bait. Whereas the first one ended pretty much like, yeah, whole planet united, Independence Day, we fought for independence, we won, yay! This one ends on, hey, by the way, we got interstellar power now, let's go forth and kick the alien asses! And Duke Nukem shows up like, hell yeah! I was like, no, Duke, no one likes you anymore. And Serious Sam rolls up, like, did you ring? I'm like, okay, bring him. So, yeah. Oh, but there was also, there were a lot of different ways of seeing the aliens this time, and we had a lot more aliens in their exosuits walking around like with fucking alien blasters and shit, which looked really nice and was quite different from the first movie, but it did leave me a little concerned, like, there's going to be some tie-in games, and they're going to be first-person or third-person shooters, cover-based shooters, with them doing this, because it looks like every video game that's come out for the last 10 years. So I'm like, that's concerning. But at the same time, for the movie, it was varied and interesting. Yeah, that's a lot what I gotta say about that, I guess. It was just a whole lot of explosions, a whole lot of varied locations. Still going to Area 51, but it's a hell of a lot bigger and a lot more going on. Going to the fucking moon. Sadly, we never get to see Saturn. Though something supposedly happened there. But, yeah, there's all sorts of shit. And I really wish I got to see it in 3D. But I did get to see it, which is important. Because I did a hell of a lot of walking under the sun to see it. So, I guess a 4 is about fair. There's enough problems where after one viewing, the more I'm thinking, I'm like, yeah, that's kind of fucked up. That's kind of fucked up too. That's kind of fucked up. To the point where it's more than I would say, but it's forgivable. It still gets a 5. No, not anymore, I don't think. Well. So, yeah, it's still fun. I'd still recommend seeing it, especially if you like the first one. And you aren't going to be super hard-ass about it. Must stay completely pure. Now, it's not going to. But it's still huge fucking epic kind of fighting and battles and shit and holy fuck. And lots of varied settings and pretty nice. Unfortunately, some high Koban. Yeah, there's some surprises. Yes, some surprises. There's the characters with plot armor, like pretty obvious plot armor, mean that when I was watching it, and so many important characters, like, nobody had died for so long, I was like, no one's going to die. And pretty much nobody died, except for, like, the couple. But, yeah, there's some serious plot armor this time around, which kind of spoils a lot of tension. But, oh well, so 4 out of 5, I think it's fair. I'd recommend it. Thank you all for watching. I've been Shado. And remember, if you're going to also run out and march for miles under the hot Texas sun to watch this movie, be sure you wear some sunscreen.